Hey, so today I'm going to show y'all how I do my lace closure quick weave behind the hairline. And the hair I'm going to be using is just all types of hair that I already had at home. Just scrap hair, and I'm going to piece it together and use it for my install. And I'm just cutting the excess lace off of the closure. As far as parting and leave out, I mean, of course, everybody's hairline is different. So for me, I just left like my widow's peak area out and just the very outside, like thinner parts of my hairline. So I left all the thin parts of my hairline out, and everything that's full, I just went ahead and braided it. And you see the braid down, so it's just 2 braids down each side. Those are going to be like the anchor braids, and then straight back for everything else. And I am doing the first layer, which is the Got To Be spray. And that's going to help with the first layer of the protective shield. Once the Got To Be spray is dry, then you can go ahead and start applying your protective shield. And the point of the spray first is because it keeps this shield from seeping through your cap and into your braids. Like when you use the Got To Be spray, it kind of lets the product sit on, this protective shield sit on the top of your hair, which that's what it's supposed to do, so you can create a good protective barrier from the glue. I did 2 layers. So the first layer was kind of a little bit on the thicker side, and then the second one was kind of just a thin layer. You don't have to do 2 layers if you don't want to. I'm just extra. So you see how you can see the product just sitting on the hair. That's what you want to go for, because this is water soluble. So whenever it's time to take it out, all you got to do is get it in the water. As long as it's warm enough, it should start to just kind of slip out. Now, I decided on the style because my hair has undergone a lot of heat damage. As you can see, my front, I got bangs in the front, like they're ate up, okay? So I feel like this is a good option for me to try to do some protective styling that's not sew-ins, because I can't really sew my own hair that good. So I opted for the quick weave. But anyway, now, here I am trying to cut my middle part, cut the cap from my middle part. Mistake I made was I went over that part with the Got To Be spray and the shield when I was supposed to skip that spot, but I actually just forgot. So you'll see me taking the tweezers to kind of like lift it and peel it up, and I'm getting the scissors under there so I could just be able to cut the cap open. I was able to successfully, cut it open. No, I didn't cut my hair or anything like that. And then just cut the extra off the side. And in a moment, we'll be ready to install the the lace closure. Now it's time to install the closure. And y'all, this is a trust the process type of hairstyle. Okay? So here we go. Just sew the edge down to the cap. So just sew your closure down to the cap. This is just meant to be a little knot just to hold it in place. This is not the real anchor for the closure. So it does not need to be tight. Please don't pull this tight, because mine feel fine. I think it'll hurt if you pull it too tight. I don't know. Don't pull it tight. Just do it just enough to keep it in place. Do the same thing on both sides. Help you sew this closure around, you're going to want to go add a pin to the back because it's going to be flopping forward. So go add a pin, and you're going to see me do that in just a second. You might not be able to tell what I'm doing, but I'm basically just taking a little bobby pin and I'm pinning the closure back, so it's making it easier for me to sew. And while you're sewing this, you want to focus on keeping that closure pulled to the front. You'll see me do it several times while I'm sewing. Keep the closure, keep the closure pulled toward the front. All right, and once the closure is sewn down, make sure it's flat. If it's flat enough and you feel comfortable with moving on, then now it's time to just secure the closure down. But when we secure it, we're going to be sewing our first track. So the first track of this quick weave will be sewn. It needs to be sewn so it can stay in place. It's going to help the style become seamless between the closure and the leave out. So this is what's going to make this seamless. As you can see, I just parted a very, very thin slither of hair and pulled it toward the front. Now, make sure this is where you want to sew on the braid. If you can't sew on the braid, it's fine to sew through the cap. But if you can sew through your braid, that would be ideal. If you're doing this yourself, you see how I'm doing it, got to do what you got to do. But we're basically sewing this to the first braid and around the entire head, and it's going to serve as our anchor to hold the closure. It's going to help the style become seamless, and it's going to add some weight in your closure, which is also going to help the style look a lot more seamless. And I just want to add here, you want to sew this firmly so that it's not moving, but you don't want to sew this so tight. That barrier that you've created with that shield on your hair, that glue protectant, that is going to harden even more overnight. So you don't want to sew this so tight that once everything dry is painful and itchy. Okay? Don't sew that tight. Just sew it firmly, but don't get so carried away that you think you have to sew it so tight. And so basically, we just sewed around the whole head, sew around the entire bottom of the cap all the way around and bring it back up the other side. And it's the same thing. Part that little slither of hair, pull it down, and you keep sewing until until you're done with that little piece. And it should not be in the part, but it should be right outside the part on both sides. And you'll see in just a moment. And it's, of course, it's not done yet, but you can see the concept kind of coming together. So you want to do another part just behind. I mean, you can kind of decide where you want to do it at, but I just did mine's just behind it. I think I end up doing 3 or 4 parts back. It's up to you on whatever you're comfortable with, but same thing, parting it, but you don't necessarily have to pull the hair down as tight because you've already secured it. So at this point, we're just adding the hair, and this is going to be glued. So this is going to start the glue portion of your quick weave. So we're not sewing anything else. We're just doing the same thing we did before, but we're just doing it with glue. And we're going to go right outside of your part and lay it inside the closure, and then take it around the bottom of your head around to the other side. So same thing, parting it on both sides and taking the hair just outside the part and taking the hair around your whole head and gluing it. Same thing. Now that I'm comfortable with how much hair I have added to my closure, I'm going to go in, and this is just, typical gluing the hair down to the cap. And I'm planning on doing a bob, so I'm trying to glue mine a little bit far apart, like giving a little space so it's not too bulky for a bob. But yes, that's pretty much what I'm doing, just gluing the hair. And yes, I did notice that I was gluing the freaking hair on top of the other hair. I was able to get it out and get it removed. But yeah, it's basically, typical quick weave, just filling in the back area. Okay, so I've finished installing all the hair, like gluing all the hair in the back, and I'm just going through with my flat iron and just pressing the hair out because it's so many different types of hair I have in my head. Some of it is wavy, curly, you know how it goes. So I'm just going through and I'm pressing everything out straight. All right, and I'm satisfied. I'm pretty much, I'm satisfied with how it looks. I get everything pressed out. So now we can move on to um, getting the part blended and the lace closure blended with the hair. So you see how I have my hair parted. I have a middle part. I am blocking the whole entire side where I don't want any spray. We're going to spray that closure, that white part of that closure. We're going to spray it black or whatever color your hair is. That's what you're going to spray it. And I'm going to go in and pluck. When you're plucking, do not pluck wide. Pluck in a straight line. Pluck in a straight line. Do not bald your part. Pluck it in a straight line. I mean, if you do, all you got to do is take a comb and take that black color and fix it. But we don't want to do that. Just pluck straight back in a straight line. All right, on to the other side. I am going to be doing the same exact thing I did on the other side. Pulling that hair back, pulling my hair forward, placing that little comb thingamajig in the space that I don't want to get any color on. And I'm spraying the front of the lace black. Block the side you don't want color on. And just spray the front part of the closure that touches your hair. And I'm taking concealer that's my skin tone. And yeah, I was a little bit nervous about this. I ain't gonna hold you, but you gotta trust the process. Okay. So I just put the concealer on, and my goal is to blend that little part right there in the front. And honestly, I've had this hairstyle in for weeks at the time of me recording this voiceover, and I have not had to reapply any concealer except for when I did a little quick shampoo of my leave out of my widow's peak. But other than that, it really held. This hairstyle is really holding on. I'm getting ready to attempt this bob, y'all. Now, this video is not about this bob. This video is about how to get this closure blended. So don't judge me about how I'm piecing this bob, okay? All right. Really like how the style turned out overall. Like, I had trouble cutting this bob on my own hair. Like, oh my God. But it came out good. I like how it came out. I actually ended up cutting it even shorter, and I'm going to include some pictures at the end of like how it looks. But as far as the lace closure, I'm so pleased with how it came out. I did this style on two of my clients before, and I'm just amazed at how good this works. Like, I know we used to do this back in the day too, still, but it's just still amazing to me how good it flows. But anyway, thanks for watching. If y'all have any recommendations of like stuff y'all want to see, hairstyles y'all want to do, because I'm just want to play with my hair and just have fun. If there's something you want to see, put it in the comments and I'll be glad to do it. Thank you for watching. Bye.